Aljamain Sterling returns to the octagon after defeating Henry Cejudo. Now he gets to defend his title against top striker Sean O'Malley. Hello fighters. This is World of MMA channel. In today's video I will give a prediction for the main event of UFC 292 between Sterling and O'Malley. But before the video, please support the channel by donating. This will help promote the channel. I'll leave the link in the description and in the attached comment. Sean O'Malley broke into the UFC so quickly that many people, even before his first fight in the promotion, began to talk this as a future superstar. Judge for yourself, the guy was 23 years old at the time. He is an undefeated fighter with 7 wins to his credit, bright and charismatic. At Dana White's Challenger Series he defeated Kashakian so calmly that the word funky is more appropriate here. And he impressed not the head of the organization, although he too, but Snoop Dogg, not bad for a young fighter. The famous rapper shouted Sean's last name, demanded to give him a contract with the UFC and called him a future champion. 2 bright victories already in the main world promotion, and then 2 years of disqualification for doping. A comeback, 2 more flashy victories, each brought him $50,000 and already almost everyone agrees that soon he will be a big star. But in his next fight, O'Malley suffered his first defeat to Marlon Vera, hurting his leg in the course of the fight, and the Ecuadorian simply finished the helpless American. Sean took a break, came back, showed a bright fight again, and got the bonus again. And then again and again. Having a series of 3 early victories in a row, he got an opponent of such caliber, with whom he had not fought before. But midway through the second round, O'Malley hit Pedro Munoz in the eye, or not, as replays never confirmed. And the latter was unable to continue, and the fight was ruled a no contest. However, promotion bosses did put him together with Petr Yan last fall. It's hard to talk about that fight, because Sean's victory was seen by 2 judges and no one else, but alas, it was enough for O'Malley to get not only the victory, but also a title shot. Aljamain Sterling, who had choked out Corey Sandhagen in a minute and a half, earned the right to challenge for the title in the spring of 2021, although he had been looking to do so for a long time. After racking up 8 wins in 8 fights over 2.5 years, Aljamain signed with the UFC in 2013. Growing up in the ghetto, in a family with 20 kids, it seemed he had only 2 paths: street gangs or rap music. To avoid that fate, Sterling devoted himself to sports, namely wrestling. He never thought about any MMA, but in college he met John Jones. And when Bones debuted in mixed martial arts, Aljo saw it and decided to follow the example of his older comrade. But even though Jones called him to Albuquerque to join Greg Jackson, Sterling decided to stay close to home and chose Serra-Longo Academy. After a great start in the elite with 4 wins, Aljamain got to the 4th line in the rankings, and it seemed that he was only 2 fights away from a title shot. But that's exactly what he lost, first to Caraway and then to Rafael Asuncio. These losses did not shake the American's position much, as both losses were by split decision. After overturning the setbacks with 2 wins, Sterling got a fight against Marlon Moraes. That night he would like to forget, if he remembers at all, because the Brazilian sent him to the deepest knockout. And then there were 5 wins in a row, and among the defeated big names, Stamann, Rivera, Moonhouse, and that brilliant finish against Corey Sandhagen. A series of 5 wins led Aljo to the title fight. The American was the underdog, but in the evening of that day he had the belt. However, he got it because of the disqualification of Petr Yan, and many dubbed Sterling a clown and Oscar hunter. A year later, the fighters met again. The chances of the Russian were even higher, but the close first round, and in the rest was clearly 2-2, so the American retained the title. In the fall of 2022 he got the legendary TJ Dillashaw as his opponent, and confidently finished him at the end of the 2nd round. But when Henry Cejudo decided to come back and immediately got a title fight, Sterling was called an underdog by many. The fight came out close, although it was felt that in almost every round Aljo was a little bit better. The champion retained the title, but only by split decision, and immediately after the fight a new challenger entered the octagon. What to expect from Sterling in the fight against O'Malley? Always running away on a bicycle, only occasionally throwing point jabs, will not work this time. Sterling will inevitably take the fight to the ground or clinch Sean at the net a lot to take away his strength. He'll also be using double and sometimes even stacked low kicks, which were a big surprise for Cejudo and caused him a lot of problems. Aljo will have real trouble in the stand-up, as he won't be able to avoid all of his opponent's punches, and he's unlikely to be able to break away in terms of accentuated shots. Sterling's odds of winning. Sterling's camp will focus on clinch kicks, elbows, and generally dominating the ground game. But let's not forget that it's not easy to take O'Malley to the ground. The tall and strong Sean will actively resist, and in case of transfer will immediately start to close jitsu locks at the expense of his long limbs. Of course, Aljo will be able to keep him on the ground for an extremely long time. Moreover, if he feels that he is coming out ahead on points, he will activate the bike and run the final round, realizing that the judges are on his side. The only question is, when will they all get tired of drawing split decisions in his championship defenses? What to expect from O'Malley in the fight against Sterling? First of all, double jabs and constant pressure. Sean realizes that in the first rounds he will be faster and more accurate than his opponent, and he will try to score points in these sections. O'Malley will also be aided by excellent inside thigh and foot strikes to the knee, which will throw Aljo back to the net and prevent him from closing in. However, the main thing Sean should look at is body and ankle defense. Leg injuries from kicks are his main problem, so O'Malley needs to finish off as many of these lunges from the champion as possible. O'Malley's odds of winning. Let the analysts doubt Sean's prediction, which promises to shock the public. I'll still believe it. That doesn't mean O'Malley is my favorite. After all, Sterling has been in this game for too long and is very familiar with all the lucrative ways to earn points and retain the title. Nevertheless, I have no doubt that in this fight, for the first time in a long time, Aljo will take a bunch of hits to the face and probably finish the fight with a couple of cuts. Sean has an underrated opponent on his side, and something tells me the cocky champion will make a lot of mistakes. Of course, by the middle of the fight, it may look like Sean has a chance. He will be hitting a lot, combining punches on different floors. At the same time, Aljo will at times look like a confused challenger who doesn't understand how exactly to develop his own attack. Nevertheless, by the middle of the fourth round the champion will inevitably begin to turn the situation in his favor. And it's not about technique, speed, or power. It's just that Sterling is much better at timing and understanding when to push the pace and when to back off. It's that understanding that will allow him to survive Sean's attacks and get ahead on the scorecards. I think Sterling will win by unanimous decision of the judges. What do you guys think? Write your opinions in the comments. Bye, everybody.